What if there is a hidden doorway in the mind, a quiet entrance into consciousness so simple, so immediate, and so powerful that the world of ordinary thinking has almost entirely overlooked it? Not because it is weak, not because it is imaginary, not because it belongs only to dreamers, mystics, or those who live apart from practical life, but because it works in a way that is too direct for the restless human mind to explain. There is a method of inner change that does not begin with strain. It does not begin with struggle. It does not ask you to fight your past, argue with your fear, or force yourself to believe what your heart has not yet accepted. It works by entering the mind through another door, a door of assumption, a door of faith, a door of divine suggestion, a door where the subconscious no longer resists, but begins to receive. And when the subconscious receives a new command in the right way, life begins to rearrange itself. The path opens, the right person appears, the needed idea comes, the closed gate quietly swings wide. This is why, for many people, transformation has always seemed so difficult. They have tried to change through effort alone. They have tried to push against fear, push against old memories, push against disappointment, push against the evidence of the outer world. But spiritual law does not ask us to force the door. It asks us to speak the word rightly, impress the mind deeply, and let divine intelligence make the way. Perhaps this has happened to you. You have tried affirmations. You have tried visualization. You have tried positive thinking. You have stood before the mirror and repeated words of abundance, confidence, healing, and success. Yet after a little while, the old pattern returned, the same worry, the same delay, the same closed road, the same feeling that the good you desire is near, but somehow not entering your life. And then the mind begins its old whisper. Perhaps something is wrong with me. Perhaps I am not chosen. Perhaps change belongs to others. But hear this clearly. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are not outside the law of good. You have simply been trying to speak to the deeper mind in a language it did not fully receive. There is a language of the subconscious. There is a language of spiritual impression. There is a way to plant a seed in the inner garden so that it takes root without resistance. And when that seed is planted in peace, with faith, and with right feeling, the invisible begins to move before the visible has any evidence. That is the beginning of miracles. Before we go deeper, take a moment and become still. Let the words you hear today be more than information. Let them be instruction. Let them be a key placed gently into your hand. And if this teaching speaks to something deep within you, write in the comments, I am ready to speak the word that opens my way. Because your word is not idle. Your word is creative. Your word is a seed. Your word is a command given to the invisible powers of your life. The great secret is this. Your life is not being shaped only by what you consciously desire. It is being shaped by what the deeper mind has accepted as true. The conscious mind may say, I want abundance. But the subconscious may say, money is hard to obtain. The conscious mind may say, I want love. But the subconscious may say, love leaves. The conscious mind may say, I am ready for success. But the subconscious may say, success requires struggle, sacrifice, and endless waiting. And because the subconscious is faithful to what it has accepted, it continues to reproduce the old picture. It does not do this to punish you. It does not do this because the universe is against you. It does this because the subconscious is a servant. It obeys the pattern impressed upon it. It does not argue. It does not reason as the conscious mind reasons. It simply takes the accepted belief and says, this must be made visible. This is why many people live for years inside a pattern they never consciously chose. Childhood words become adult conditions. Old fears become repeated experiences. A sentence spoken by a parent, a teacher, a friend, or a disappointed heart can become a silent law in the subconscious, unless it is redeemed by a higher word. Someone said, "Money does not grow on trees," and the child accepted scarcity. Someone said, "People like us never get ahead," and the mind accepted limitation. Someone said, "You are too sensitive," and the soul began to hide its gifts. Someone left, and the heart accepted abandonment as destiny. But spiritual truth comes to cancel false law. Divine intelligence does not ask what was spoken over you in childhood. It asks what you will speak now. For every old belief, there is a higher word. For every fear, there is a divine correction. For every pattern of delay, there is a right idea that opens the way. Say quietly within yourself, "I am not governed by old fear. I am governed by divine order. My past has no power over the word I speak now. The law of good is active in my life, and the way is made clear before me." These words are not empty. They are not ornaments of speech. They are spiritual instruments. They begin to turn the inner wheel. They begin to notify the unseen realm that a new command has been given. But there is a subtle truth here. If you speak words that the subconscious rejects completely, the deeper mind may not receive them. If you declare, "I am wealthy," while every cell in your body cries out, "No, I am not," the affirmation may strike the surface of the mind and fall away. This does not mean affirmations are powerless. It means they must be used wisely. The spoken word is creative, but the word must enter through faith, not force. Faith is not strain. Faith is not pretending. Faith is the calm acceptance that divine intelligence knows the way, even before the outer evidence appears. And this is where the hidden method becomes so beautiful. Instead of arguing with the subconscious, you ask it a question. Not a weak question. Not a fearful question. Not, "Why is my life so hard?" Not, "Why does nothing ever work for me?" Not, "Why am I always behind?" Those questions are also creative, and they send the mind searching for evidence of struggle. The spiritual student must guard the questions of the heart just as carefully as the declarations of the tongue. The better question is, why is divine order arranging everything in my favor now? Why has abundance become so natural for me to receive? Why am I guided so clearly to the right people, the right ideas, and the right action? Why is my path opening with such ease and grace? Do you see the difference? The question already assumes the blessing. It does not beg. It does not plead. It does not argue. It gently instructs the subconscious to begin looking for proof that good is already in motion. The mind cannot leave a question unanswered. This is one of the most practical spiritual laws you can use. When a question is planted deeply, the mind begins to search. It gathers evidence. It remembers ideas. It notices details. It opens doors in perception that were previously closed. Ask a poor question, and the mind will find poor evidence. Ask a faithful question, and the mind will begin to find faithful evidence. This is why the question must be chosen with sacred care. Many people unknowingly pray against themselves all day long through wrong questions. Why does this always happen to me? Why can I never get ahead? Why do people disappoint me? Why is life so difficult? And because the mind is obedient, it goes out like a servant and brings back reasons. It finds proof. It points to old memories. It strengthens the very condition the person desires to escape. But the awakened soul changes the question. The awakened soul says, "Why is the right way opening now? Why am I so divinely guided? Why does good come to me in expected and unexpected ways? Why am I always supplied at the right time? Why is peace becoming my natural state? This is not mental trickery in the lower sense. It is spiritual redirection. It is the disciplined use of imagination, attention, and word. It is refusing to give the subconscious another command of fear. Your inner world is like a projector, and your outer life is the screen. The screen does not create the picture. It reveals what has been placed in the projector. If the inner film is scarcity, the outer screen shows lack. If the inner film is rejection, the outer screen shows loneliness. If the inner film is struggle, the outer screen shows resistance. Most people sit in the theater of their own life and argue with the screen. They shout at the image. They complain about the scene. They try to rearrange the shadows. But the wise person turns to the projector. The wise person changes the inner film. Your beliefs are the lens. Your emotions are the light. Your repeated inner assumptions are the film itself. And the field of life, infinite, responsive, waiting, becomes the screen upon which those assumptions are made visible. The beautiful truth is that you are not limited to one film. There is a film where you are guided. There is a film where you are supplied. There is a film where the right relationship heals. There is a film where the business prospers. There is a film where the body rests in divine vitality. There is a film where the long delay ends and the right door opens. That version is not far away in some impossible future. It exists first as a possibility in the invisible. The work is to tune the mind, the word, the feeling, and the expectation until the inner projector is able to receive and express it. This is why faith is not passive. Faith is spiritual selection. Faith chooses the divine picture before the senses confirm it. Faith says, I will not bow before appearances. I will speak the word of good. I will let divine order govern this situation. Write this now, or speak it aloud. I choose the divine picture. I no longer rehearse fear. I speak the word of faith, and my life responds. Every moment, the world is offering you more than you can consciously perceive. There are opportunities around you. There are connections around you. There are ideas around you. There are solutions around you. But the mind does not show you everything. It filters reality according to what it believes is relevant. This is why two people can walk through the same day and live in two entirely different worlds. One sees rejection everywhere. Another sees invitation. One sees lack everywhere. Another sees circulation, supply, and possibility. One sees obstacles. Another sees instructions. The outer world may appear the same, but the inner filter is different, and the filter is trained by belief. If the subconscious believes nothing good happens easily, it will ignore easy good when it appears. If the subconscious believes money is difficult, it will overlook simple openings for increase. If the subconscious believes, I am not supported, it will fail to recognize the helpers sent by divine intelligence. Not because the good is absent, but because the mind has not been instructed to see it. So the work is not to force the universe to become generous. The universe is already lavish. The work is to cleanse the inner lens until the lavishness can be recognized and received. This is why gratitude is so powerful. Gratitude tells the subconscious, good is here. Gratitude trains the mind to notice supply. Gratitude multiplies the visible by honoring the invisible. The person who says, there is never enough, keeps training the mind to find absence. The person who says, I am grateful for the good that is here, and I welcome the greater good now appearing, trains the mind to recognize increase. This is not denial, it is dominion. Denial says, there is no problem, while secretly trembling before the problem. Dominion says, this appearance is not final. Divine order is greater. The right solution is already moving toward manifestation. This is the attitude of spiritual authority, not arrogance, not fantasy, not strain. A quiet certainty, a calm knowing, a settled conviction that the invisible law of good is working even while the visible world still appears unchanged. You do not need to know every step. You need to give the right command. You need to speak the right word. You need to ask the right question. You need to listen for the right guidance. And then, you need to take the right action when it comes. For spiritual law is never separated from practical life. Divine intelligence may guide you to make a call, send an email, forgive someone, rest, study, apply, sell, buy, move, wait, or speak. The answer may come as an impression, a sudden idea, a sentence you hear, a memory, a dream, a peaceful nudge, a strong inner knowing. This is intuition, and intuition is one of the ways divine intelligence speaks. When the mind is cluttered with fear, intuition is often drowned out. But when the mind is quieted by faith, intuition rises like a clear bell. Say within yourself, I am guided by divine intelligence. I know what to do, and I do it at the right time. The way is made clear before me. These words begin to organize consciousness, and organized consciousness leads to organized conditions. Now we come to the practical method. The method is simple, but do not mistake simplicity for weakness. The greatest spiritual laws are often simple because truth does not need decoration. It needs application. Instead of forcing a statement that your subconscious may resist, you ask a faithful question that assumes the good is already unfolding. For example, instead of saying with tension, I am rich, you may ask, why is abundance flowing to me so naturally now? Instead of saying, I am successful, while secretly feeling afraid, you may ask, why is divine intelligence guiding me into the right success with ease? Instead of saying everything is fine, while the heart is anxious, you may ask, why is peace becoming stronger in me every day? Instead of saying, I have no problems, you may ask, why is the perfect solution already revealing itself? This kind of question bypasses the argument of the surface mind. It gives the subconscious a task. It says, search for this. Find the evidence. Show me the proof. Reveal the path. And the deeper mind begins to obey. You may not see everything at once. Sometimes the first sign is simply a new calm. Sometimes it is a shift in perception. Sometimes it is an unexpected message. Sometimes it is the sudden realization that an answer was always near, but you could not see it while fear was holding your attention. Do not despise the small sign. A small sign is often the first leaf of a great harvest. A calm thought can become a changed decision. A changed decision can become a new direction. A new direction can become a transformed life. When you ask the right question, you adjust the inner filter. You tune the mind to another station. You begin broadcasting a new spiritual frequency, and life responds, not always in the way the anxious mind demands, but always in the way divine order knows is right. This is why you must not dig up the seed every hour to see whether it is growing. Ask the question, feel the truth of it, rest in it, let it work. Faith gives the seed time to obey. Anxiety plants, then uproots. Faith plants, waters, and waits with confidence. One of the most powerful times to use this method is just before sleep. The last moments before sleep are sacred moments. The outer mind grows quiet. The reasoning faculty softens. The gate between the conscious and subconscious opens. The impressions you carry into sleep are carried deep into the inner chamber. Many people use these moments to rehearse tomorrow's fear. They replay conversations. They imagine failure. They count their burdens. They bless their problems with attention, and then wonder why they wake up heavy. But the spiritual student uses the night differently. Before sleep, withdraw your attention from the noise of the day. Place the body at rest. Breathe gently. Let the nervous system become still. Then, as though speaking into the listening heart of life, ask your divine question. Why is divine order arranging my life so beautifully now? Why am I being led to the perfect solution? Why is abundance finding me with ease? Why is my heart so peaceful and my path so clear? Ask it softly, not desperately, not mechanically, not as one begging a distant power. Ask it as one who knows that the Father's good pleasure is to give, guide, and supply. Then fall asleep in the feeling that the answer is already moving. Let the subconscious receive the question. Let the unseen powers work through the night. Let divine intelligence arrange what your conscious mind cannot arrange. And in the morning, do not rush back into fear. Rise with the quiet expectancy that guidance will meet you. Watch what you notice. Watch what comes to mind. Watch who appears. Watch which door calls to you. The answer may be subtle, but it will not be absent. This is where many people miss the miracle. They ask once, then immediately return to the old speech. They plant a seed of faith at night and water fear all day. They say, "Why is abundance coming so easily?" and then spend the morning declaring, "I never have enough." They say, "Why am I divinely guided?" and then tell everyone, "I don't know what to do." They say, "Why is peace increasing?" and then rehearse every possible disaster. You cannot serve two masters in consciousness. You cannot command faith and fear with equal devotion and expect a clear result. The word must be guarded. The inner conversation must be watched. This does not mean you pretend never to feel afraid. It means you do not let fear write the script. When fear rises, answer it with spiritual authority. Fear says, "What if nothing changes?" Faith says, "Divine order is working now." Fear says, "What if I am too late?" Faith says, "Right timing governs my life." Fear says, "What if there is no way?" Faith says, "The way is made where no way appears." Fear says, "What if I fail?" Faith says, "I am guided to right action, and right action brings right results." This is how the inner kingdom is governed. Not by panic, not by habit, not by old memory, but by the spoken word aligned with divine law. Your words are not merely descriptions of your life, they are instructions to your life. Speak lack, and lack is strengthened. Speak confusion, and confusion is fed. Speak resentment, and resentment multiplies. Speak faith, and faith opens the door. Speak order, and order begins to appear. Speak supply, and the mind begins to recognize supply. Speak guidance, and intuition becomes clearer. This is not superstition. It is spiritual discipline. It is training consciousness to serve the divine pattern instead of the old fear. Let your daily language become a sanctuary. Do not say, "I am stuck." Say, "A new way is opening." Do not say, "I cannot afford it." Say, "Divine supply knows every need and meets it in right order." Do not say, "I always choose wrong." Say, "I am guided by wisdom and I choose rightly." Do not say, "Nothing works for me." Say, "The law of good is active in my life now." And when the old words come rushing back, Do not condemn yourself. Simply correct them. The moment you correct the word, you change the direction of power. Sigh. Cancel that. It has no power. I now speak the word of faith. This is a beautiful practice. It restores dominion. It reminds the mind that you are no longer living by accident. You are living by spiritual law. There is also a deeper reason this method works so gracefully. It does not require you to wrestle with the subconscious. It invites the subconscious into cooperation. The old way says, you must believe this now. The deeper way says, why is this becoming true so naturally? The old way may create pressure. The deeper way creates curiosity. And curiosity opens a door that force cannot open. When you ask, why is it so easy for me to receive good now? The mind begins to look for ease. When you ask, why do the right people come to me at the right time? The mind begins to notice divine appointments. When you ask, why am I always guided to the next right step? The mind becomes alert to guidance. And this is where life begins to feel different. A book falls open to the exact sentence you need. A person says something that answers a private question. An opportunity appears through a conversation you almost did not have. A burden that seemed immovable begins to dissolve. A decision that felt impossible becomes simple. These are not random accidents. They are signs of alignment. When the inner word changes, the outer world reorganizes. Not because you are manipulating life, but because you are cooperating with spiritual law. The universe is not a machine to be tricked. It is a living field of divine intelligence to be trusted. You are not here to force miracles. You are here to become receptive to the good that divine order has already prepared. This is why the feeling is so important. A question asked in panic carries panic. A question asked in faith carries faith. So before you ask, become still. Place your hand over your heart if you wish. Breathe. Let the body know it is safe. Let the mind soften. Then ask as though the answer is already approaching. Why is my good coming to me now in perfect ways? Why is divine intelligence making all things clear? Why is my life being restored, supplied, and blessed? And after you ask, listen. There may be a silence. Do not fear the silence. Silence is often the workshop of God. In silence, the new pattern is being formed. In silence, the old resistance is losing its strength. In silence, the subconscious is being impressed with a higher order. The spiritual life is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes the greatest shift happens without noise. And then suddenly, the outer world reveals that something within has changed. Now let us bring this into daily life. Suppose you are worried about money. The old habit says, how will I pay this? What if I do not have enough? Why does this always happen? But the new word says, why is divine supply meeting this need in perfect time? Why am I being shown new channels of increase? Why is money coming to me in wise, right, and blessed ways? Then you do not sit idle in fear. You listen for guidance. You take the practical step that comes. You make the call. You organize the bill. You follow the idea. You remain alert for the channel through which supply may arrive. Suppose you are troubled by a relationship. The old habit says, why do people hurt me? Why am I never understood? But the new word says, why is harmony being established now? Why am I guided to speak with love, clarity, and right timing? Why is divine order blessing this relationship, or gently leading each person to the right place? This does not mean you tolerate harm. Divine love includes wisdom. Sometimes healing means reconciliation. Sometimes healing means release. But when divine intelligence leads, The heart is not governed by fear. Suppose you are facing confusion. The old habit says, "I don't know what to do. I always make mistakes." But the new word says, "Why is the next right step so clear to me now? Why does wisdom rise within me at the perfect moment? Why am I guided, protected, and led by divine intelligence?" Then you wait without panic. You do not force an answer out of anxiety. You allow the right idea to come clothed in peace. Peace is a sign. Confusion rushes. Fear insists. Divine guidance has a quiet authority. It may be firm, but it is not frantic. It may ask courage of you, but it does not leave you inwardly shattered. As you practice this, you will begin to feel the difference between fear's urgency and intuition's instruction. Fear says, "Do it now, or you will lose everything." Intuition says, "This is the way, walk in it." Fear contracts the body. Intuition steadies it. Fear imagines punishment. Intuition reveals right action. This is why the method is not merely mental, it is spiritual. It teaches you to live from the inner kingdom rather than the outer disturbance. Now, if you have listened this far, it means something in you is ready. You are not here by accident. A soul does not hunger for truth unless truth is already calling it higher. You are not merely looking for a quick technique. You are being invited into a new relationship with your own consciousness, your own word, and the divine intelligence that has never left you. You are being invited to stop treating your mind as an enemy and begin treating it as a garden. You are being invited to stop rehearsing the old story and begin planting the divine story. You are being invited to stop asking fear to explain your life and begin